The Ultramarathon. A grueling test of physical endurance, mental fortitude, eating, and for our faithful GPS companions, the ultimate test of their battery life. But the question remains, can the Apple Watch handle an ultramarathon?
Yes, it can. That's it, that's the video. Well, it can, but it kinda depends on a few things. Kia ora, kia te pihia koe, how are you? Daniel here. The Apple Watch. A great wee device, but not one that's known for having a particularly robust battery life. I've used an Apple Watch for a couple of years now, and I love it. It's been with me on all kinds of activities, from hiking to swimming to surfing to yoga, working out, and it's been with me on hundreds of runs, covering thousands of miles. It's paced me to several new PBs and tracked a dozen or so races. The most recent of which was the Causeway Coast Ultramarathon in September last year. Well, not the actual event. See, they moved the location to a beach and I just went and you know what? It doesn't matter. Before that race, I searched high and low for a simple answer to a not so simple question. Can the Apple Watch handle an ultramarathon? Most people said no, but I managed to make it work. Kind of. In doing so, I learned a few lessons along the way about using the Apple Watch for an ultramarathon, which I thought I'd share with you today. First up, the elephant in the room, the battery life. Can the Apple Watch handle a full day of GPS tracking out there on the trails? Yes, but only up to a point. In my training last year, I ran the Berwickshire Coastal Path, 47 kilometres, and a 10-lap, 52-kilometre run around my neighbourhood. Don't do that. For those, it worked brilliantly. The battery held out fine and it caught all the details I needed. For my race, which was 66 kilometres and took me about 8 hours, it died with about 6 kilometres left to go. As you can imagine, I wasn't too happy about that. So it died. It's useless, right? What's the point I'm trying to make here? Well, an ultramarathon is technically anything longer than a marathon, right? So if it's a 50k that you've got planned, the Apple Watch may handle that perfectly fine, depending of course on how long it takes you to cover 50k. If you're planning a 100k, I would probably look elsewhere. For some, that may be the question answered. You're planning some crazy 24-hour ultra endurance event out in the mountains. This is not the device for you. But if you're just dipping your toes into the world of ultramarathons and you already have an Apple Watch or you're looking at picking one up, here's a few tips to help you get a few extra miles out of it. Number one, do everything you can to maximize the battery life. Turn off complications, mute notifications, don't use it for listening to music, switch off Wi-Fi, dim the screen. I won't go into it, but there's loads of articles that have great advice on getting more from your Apple Watch battery. I'll link a couple of these below. I know that dumbing down an Apple Watch kind of defeats the purpose of having one, but this doesn't need to be a permanent change. Just make the changes for race day or long runs and then turn them back on afterwards. Number two, take a nap. In a previous video, I sang the praises of my favourite running app for the Apple Watch, Work Outdoors, largely because it offers breadcrumb navigation. I'll link to it above and below if you want to check that one out. Part of the reason my watch didn't make it the whole way through the Causeway Coast Ultra is because I was constantly needing to check for directions. If you know the course you're running, like I did in my training runs where my watch did go the distance, then you won't constantly need to check your watch and that'll save a load of battery life. Or if it's a course you're unfamiliar with, then carrying a physical map, which depending on the race you may need to carry anyway, will also save that constant glancing to check that you're on the right track. And number three, carry your iPhone. Now, this is a good idea anyway from a safety point of view, but my understanding, though I've not confirmed this officially, is that when you carry your iPhone with you on a run and you're wearing an Apple Watch, your watch will use the GPS data from your phone rather than the watch itself. Now, if that is true, that's an enormous battery saver, and my own anecdotal experience does back that up. in the occasions where I've had my phone with me, my watch battery has seemed to last longer. Another reason is that your phone makes a great backup tracker. In my race, my watch died with around a half a dozen Ks left to go. Thankfully, the file got saved due in no small part to work outdoors, another reason why I wholeheartedly recommend that app. But rather than lose the last part of the race, all I did was open up my phone, open Strava, and then just tracked it on there. Afterwards, I merged the two files together. There's a brilliant website that I'll link in the description below that makes this process a piece of cake. You do lose some data, specifically around heart rates, but crucially, you'll have the full GPX route to upload to Strava, ready to receive some serious kudos. Speaking of which, if you've enjoyed this video, I would love if you could leave me the YouTube equivalent of kudos. So, back to our initial question. Can the Apple Watch handle an ultramarathon? Yes, it can, but it depends on the ultramarathon and it depends on how you plan to use it. If you're in the market now and you're weighing up which to buy, you'll have a lot of questions to ask yourself, and rightfully so. But do bear in mind that the race is only the final part of the journey. You're going to be wearing this thing throughout all the months of training beforehand too. Do you want something specific to running that'll handle race day perfectly and has some features of a smartwatch? Or do you want all the features of a smartwatch that will do most runs okay but might struggle when it comes to race day? For me, it was the latter. Most training runs for me are short and fast, and the Apple Watch handles those beautifully, and it does most long runs too. If I'm training for, say, 20 hours a week, that leaves the other 148 hours that I'm wearing this thing, so I want it to fit into my lifestyle as well. I like that the Apple Watch can hold my music, can set me reminders, tell me when I have a phone call, and yeah, if I need it to, it can pretty much handle an ultramarathon. Thanks very much for watching. As we do, we finished the video with a wee tipple. Got the Cardhu Gold Reserve today. It's a beautiful bottle, lovely wooden top. Don't come at me for my glass choice. Smells like a space light. Thanks for watching. Slideshow.